Hey everyone, this is Jim back with SDC International Shipping. I'm here talking to Rob. Rob, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How's everything with you?
Everything's going well. Everything's going well.
Good, good.
So we're jumping into our topic on international shipping, international moving, relocation. When you first talk to people, um, how do you determine what the person's needs are? What are they thinking about? How does the process begin to come together?
That's actually a really good question. It's pretty broad, but it's really important. It's really the first step is to understand what is this client trying to accomplish. So things like where are they? Where's the origination point, as we say? Where's the destination? Is this Canada? Or is this Mexico, which is going to be over the road probably? Or is this Europe or Australia, or where is this client going? And then from there, I want to know two things. I want to understand their volume, how much space is going to be occupied by their content, by their household goods and their personal effects, get sort of a sense for that to start. And, what the other needs are, the more specialized needs. Maybe there's a 19th century glass curio cabinet. Maybe there's some really nice fine art, a game room with billiards or things of that nature. I need to know those things as well. And the starting point really is for me, is this North America or is it over the ocean? And then sort of drill down when is this going to a year? Is this 6 months? Is this now? It's really important. And then from there, I want to understand what their volume is and help them understand what they're going to be in store for. So if I say, well, what all you moving? Very broad. And this is a 20,000 foot question. I'm not focusing in on granularity yet. And they say something like, oh, I'm just moving 20 boxes and a couple pieces of art and a bike. Okay. Now I know, assuming ocean now, that we're looking at a shared container. So, a groupage or palletized situation. They don't need a container. They can certainly get their own container, but it wouldn't be cost effective. So now I know that. If they say I'm in a one bedroom, okay, we're looking probably at a 20-foot container now. Up to two bedrooms, if it's somewhat modest, I know it's a 20-foot container. Four bedroom, up to four bedrooms, it's a 40-foot container. So you get the idea there. That's really where I start. I want to know where they are, where they're going, what they're moving, any special circumstances, and then let them know kind of what I'm thinking. From there, and we've talked about this before, that's where we try and do a visual survey to really get down to the specificity of what is going, so we're not guessing. What happens
Right.
sometimes is people will underestimate, maybe intentionally, maybe not. And then whatever the actual situation is, it is. But we want to know that before everything's picked up so we can quote appropriately. That was a little
Right.
bit long. I hope that helped a little bit.
No, it does. It does. So you talk to people every day, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So as you're talking to people, are there certain concerns that you hear over and over again from like the client standpoint? Are there certain things that always seem to be on their mind?
Yeah, and the biggest one really is, and it's on my mind too, because again, we want to quote accurately. We don't want to say you need a 20-foot container and it's a 40-foot container because that can be disastrous.
Yeah.
So I really, the client wants to know what they're in for, so that we can let them know this is going to be 400 cubic feet and we can do a shared container, or I think you need a 20-foot container, and that way we can quote them. So they need to know that, and I need to know that. And what I do sometimes is, we'll talk about the different ways to ship ocean now. There's
Yeah.
something that we call a lift van. That's 200 cubic feet of contents, and that means nothing to the client. They go 200 cubic feet. You might as well. I don't. What is that? And I say, well, a lift van, 200 cubic feet, is about 7 feet by 7 feet by 4 feet. So let's picture now a big crate, which is what a lift van is. Seven
Yeah.
by 7 by 4. You think your items are going to fit in there? So we do that. Or if it's a larger move, I say a 20-foot container is about 20 feet by about 8 feet by about 8 feet. It's a little less, but that gives them, again, if they can visualize 8,
Yeah.
7.5 by, just under 20. Oh, yeah, I think my stuff will fit, or no way, that kind of thing. 40-foot container is going to be, of course, double that in length. Everything else is the same. And there's a 40 high cube that's 1 foot taller. So I try to help the client visualize what we're doing before we get into that granularity where we're okay, this sofa's going good and that trash can is going, etc.
Okay, so now the granular part, is that where you actually get eyes on the actual furniture and household goods directly? That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. And we like to do that as much as possible. Sometimes, though, we have clients who, no, I moved from Paris to San Francisco 1 year ago. We used a 40-foot container. I haven't bought anything new. Let quote me on a 40-foot container. Fantastic. Now tell me about anything that's delicate. Maybe I want to see it. There's glass or high-end art. Still need to know those things because they come into play. But some people already know. Well, we're happy to quote it that way as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Rob, as always, great information. Are people moving? Let's talk about California for a moment. Are people making those shorter moves, like to a Mexico or a Canada? Is that still popular right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so, kind of what I was talking about previously is mostly ocean shipping, right? But there's also over the road. And so I really care about volume for ocean. Weight doesn't really come into play. However, over the road, there is a density situation. Density takes into consideration two things: the weight and the volume. And there's a formula for it, so we understand what the density is. And that would be for Canada, and that would be for shipping to Mexico. Sometimes in certain situations, I'll ocean ship to Mexico, but for the most part, it's over the road in a trailer, proper moving truck. So that's important. Another time that the weight and density comes into play is I have a client in, let's say, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or somewhere inland, right? Memphis, Tennessee.
Mhm.
And there's no port there that I can use to ship. So I'm going to have to, more than likely, I'm going to have to put that on a trailer, a proper moving truck, and trailer it to Los Angeles or San Francisco or Houston or New York, depending where they're going, of course. And for that component, I do care about, let's say, weight a little bit, but the client doesn't need to know. I know that if I'm moving household goods and personal effects over the longer haul, it's going to weigh a certain amount per cubic foot. So still, I'm really only interested in the volume piece, really.
One last question about this. Let's say somebody is in New York and they're going to a Mexico.
Mhm.
So does everything just go by ship because it's New York and the ports are there? Or is it cheaper to put it on a truck, go to the West Coast, and then down?
Generally, it's going to be cheaper, even from New York, to take it to maybe Laredo or to Los Angeles and take it down, depending where it's going in Mexico.
Yeah.
If client's going to Veracruz, I may put it on a boat so I could come right out of New York in the ports of Veracruz. Perfect. So that's one of those situations where we could consider using an ocean transit. And now the one thing we didn't talk about yet is air. We also ship by way of air for clients who it really comes down to timing. It's so much quicker. It's significantly more expensive. But with the air situation, everything has to be palletized for air, and we handle all of this. But again, I'm concerned about the volume, the spatial volume, and the weight. But again, we still know it's about a certain number of pounds or kilograms per cubic foot or meter. And we do all that calculation on our own.
Rob, as always, great information, great details. I
Thanks.
love it. For those of you watching, of course, I'll put Rob's information on the screen. Rob's always available. If
Yep.
he can answer the phone, he'll answer it.
That's my rule. You know it.
And if you haven't been to the website yet, sdcinternationalshipping.com, ton of information there as well. So, Rob, great talking to you. I'll see you again next week.
Likewise, and we'll see you next week. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right.
All right, Jim. Have a good one.
You too.